Tonight on the show, an Oscar-nominated actor, a fine comedian, and the star of the medical sitcom Scrubs. Now, microphone, questions for guests, fine wine. Now, clear. Let's start the show! Tonight, Oscar-nominated thespian Kenneth Branagh is here. There's Posh. Actor, director, and star of Scrubs, Zach Braff is joining us. Yeah. Comedian Frank Skinner is here. And we've got music from the brilliant Tayo Cruz. Can't wait to meet Kenneth Branagh. He shot to fame as the director and star of the film Henry V. I think that's him just about to sit down for Christmas lunch. Kenneth portrayed him as a tough, gritty warrior. Here's the actual Henry V. No oil painting. Mind you, here's Henry VIII. And, of course, the most famous of all the Henrys, Henry the Hoover. Directed and starred in Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Yes. Now, in the film, Frankenstein creates a creature with a misshapen body and 2 left feet. I think this is it. Yeah. Oh. Kenneth is currently appearing in the Oscar-tipped film My Week with Marilyn, all about Marilyn Monroe. Now, Marilyn had affairs with so many famous men. She did. It was even rumoured that she had an affair with Albert Einstein. Yeah. And you do think, like, what did she like about him? Let's get some guests on! Later we'll be having music from Tayo Cruz! But first, time for some Frank talking. It's Frank Skinner! Hey, hello, sir. I'll take your hand there. How are you? Come round, please. He scrubs up well. It's Zach Braff. Look at you, little smug ass. Shut up. There you go. That's better. But soft. He approaches. He is nigh. It's Kenneth Branagh. Oh, it's like having One Direction on the show, isn't it?
In 30 years' time.
Now, hello to you all. Welcome to you all.
Nice
but I suppose a special hello to you, Zach, and welcome to London.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. You're here for a while.
I've moved here. I moved here. I'm doing a play in the West End at the Duke of York's, and I'll be here till end of April. So I'm a London. I like to think of myself as a Londoner.
And are we treating you well? Are you settling in?
Oh yeah, I'm getting used to all the little changes. Not tipping people. I tipped a cab driver, I guess, too much the other day, and he said, "Why are you wasting your money?"
Really?
Yes.
That was a rare cab driver. I wouldn't go on television saying you don't tip cabbies.
Okay.
You'll be in the West End for a long time. And, Kenneth Branagh, you've just come from the London Critics Circle Film Awards.
I have.
Did you win?
Yes, I did.
Yay!
Thank you very much.
Thank you. What do you get?
Thank you. It was a very splendid glass platter mounted on another glass thing that is both beautiful and a wonderful blunt object if someone tried to break into the house. So I have 2 things in one. But it was a thrill. It doesn't, you know, it's a thrill to be nominated. It was a thrill to win.
But you're on a bit of a roll now, aren't you? Because you've now been nominated for the BAFTA as well.
Yes.
And of course, all of this is from My Week with Marilyn.
That's
You're
correct.
Best Supporting Actor. And I'm sorry, I saw you with the Globes.
I was on a very...
I shouldn't have mentioned it.
I was on a very lucky, unbelievable table. I'm sitting opposite Madonna. Over here is Meryl Streep, and over here is Michelle Williams. They all win. It was like the... And I was the albatross on the table. Not a good place to be, but it was very, very nice to watch.
Well, listen, good luck and all the rest, and I hope you get nominated for the Oscar as well.
Thank you very much.
Fingers crossed. And Frank's getting down there. You're currently now the new host of Room 101,
yes.
Which is like the opposite of an award show.
Currently, what have you heard?
Rumours are flying around the building.
Oh,
no. No, you're the third host, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah. But it's kind of the opposite of an award show. Do you guys know this show? Room
Yes, very much so.
I don't, but I've heard that it's quite popular.
Yeah.
I'll tell you put a stop to that.
I think you'll be fine.
Thanks, Zach. I'm warming to you.
Because you were on it once.
Yeah, I was.
What did you put in? What did you put in?
In the original, I put in Action Man. I put in.
What was wrong with him?
Well, I wasn't against Action Man per se, but I come from a very poor family, and we couldn't really afford the outfit. So my mother used to make. And she knitted him, I remember, a matching trousers and cardigan. And it was in quite a heavy stitch with buttons on, which obviously proportionally were like this. And you look like a sort of off-duty male nurse. And I played with my friends who they had things like Action Man, Nazi Stormtrooper, and it made me unhappy as a child. Yeah.
Do either of you have pet hates you'd put in?
Predictive text. Probably, just because it never worked. I mean, you know, just the time, how many times you've spent just trying to get... I'm useless at it anyway, but the idea of predicting words that I've never heard of as the ones I really want just drives me mad. So it means everything is done. It takes me 3 times or 4 times as long to do the thing that's supposed to save you time.
And sometimes you don't notice. One slips
through.
Oh,
have you had any disasters in that way?
Well, I've discovered that coal and anal and cock are all the same.
So you have to be very careful.
They really do.
They all have their uses.
Yeah.
I'm already learning you can say a couple more words on a British talk show than you can on an American talk show.
Do you have a pet hate?
Cock and anal. I'm kidding.
I knew it was going to be all boys at the couch tonight. I thought, it's going to kick off.
No, you know what I hate those people that wear the Bluetooth earpiece, the wireless one, all the time, even when they're not on the phone. They just sort of walk around with it in. I find that incredibly annoying. Can we put that in your room?
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Now you have to avoid cab drivers and nightclub bouncers.
Yeah, London's really shutting down for you now. Listen, My Week with Marilyn.
Yeah.
Obviously, a huge hit. You were playing Sir Laurence Olivier.
Yeah.
And particularly when you were starting out, I guess there were lots of comparisons between yourself and Laurence Olivier, the whole kind of directing, the starring, the Shakespeare. But you have done, I suppose, in a way, something that Laurence Olivier didn't do so much. You have gone kind of mainstream and Hollywood, you know, directing Thor and all, things like that. What was that like, going from kind of, you know, sort of parochial Britain in a way to big Hollywood, I am a director now?
Well, it was very exciting. You can't quite believe you're there, and lots of things happen to make you doubt it as well. When I first went to Hollywood about 20 years ago, the first thing they asked me was what kind of car would I like to drive. I had no idea. The guy says, what about a Ford Mustang? That'd be great. Open top? Yeah. What colour? Red. OK. And so I arrive at the Beverly Hills Hotel, which is already overwhelming, and then this car's waiting for me. I put the sunglasses on. Of course. I'm driving down Sunset Boulevard, so sort of, you know, jawed. I keep going over to the wrong side of the road, so that gives me, you know, people honking and doing all that kind of stuff. I get to Paramount Studios, and of course, because I'm a Brit, even though I'm supposed to be a, you know, big Hollywood type, I get there, and my name's not on the gate. You can't come in.
But I'm directing the big Hollywood film. I am the director and the star.
You're not getting it. So they wouldn't let me in. And then eventually I have to call my mum, as it were, call the producer. They said, no, it's not Kevin Branagh, it's Ken Branagh, and yes, he's allowed in. They sent me to the parking structure at Paramount. So I thought, it's OK, deep breaths. You've arrived in your open-top red Ford Mustang. Now go and direct your big Hollywood film. I couldn't get the ignition key out of the steering. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't get the roof to go up. And there's a button on the steering column that you have to press to let the thing go. Anyway, I had to call my mum again. And they had to come and get me. So now I'm an hour late, egg on face, idiot. And so, you know, the first morning's explaining that you don't know anything about cars. It's not a good look.
It's not.
As a Hollywood
They
director.
know you're foreign.
Exactly.
I hired a car, because new cars are always scary. I hired a car, and I was, you know, you don't know what, you can't get it into reverse. And I was coming off this driveway, and I was moving very slowly, and someone blasted the horn, and I looked, there's an old couple in a car, and I'm going, and I'm trying to get it, and they, and every time I turn to sort of back off, they blast the horn, and in the end, I wind the window, I say, "Oh, fuck, and go crazy, and they drive off. And I was really, they just looked shocked and horrified. And I leaned across again, and the horn went again, and I realised it was me.
Oh, no!
Because Zach, when you kind of made it big with Scrubs and sort of proper cash was coming in,
Right.
you went a bit car crazy too, didn't you?
Well, I was the kid with the car pictures on my wall. I always loved cars, and so the first thing I did when I had made a little cash was get a beautiful Porsche that I had always dreamed of. And the car was brand new, and my friend, who played Donald Faison, who played Turk on the show Scrubs, thought it would be funny to play a practical joke on me. And there's a show called Punk'd. Do you have Punk'd here?
We did. Yeah.
Oh, they got me really horribly bad. It's the thing's like 3 days off the lot, and I was going to a liquor store with him. It was all set up, hidden cameras. I didn't know, obviously. And some teenagers asked us to buy them booze, because you know you can't drink till you're 21 in the States. And I was like, no, we're not going to buy you booze. I'm not going to be responsible for you guys getting hammered. And when we came out of the liquor store, the brand new car appeared, from my perspective, to be completely covered with graffiti, and the kids were just finishing doing it. Wow. Like ruined. Wow. And the whole thing had been choreographed with the hidden cameras and such that I wouldn't be able to catch the little but I caught him. I started just pummeling. And I couldn't see from my perspective because my adrenaline was so pumping that he looks up and he's like a little boy. And I stopped because I didn't realize he was so young. And of course, they edited that whole bit out because they don't really want you beating up children on anything. But no, they got me really bad.
Really bad. So listen,
a funny one more thing about that story is that we went into the when we went into the liquor store. My co-star who played Turk, Donald Faison, he knew he was on camera because he was the guy on the joke. And we walk in the liquor store. There's a giant rack of porn. It's the first thing you see when you walk in. And I walk in. I'm with my buddy, and I'm like
magazines, DVDs,
both probably.
Okay.
I can give you the address.
I just want to picture it in my mind.
Yeah, well, stay with us. And so I walk over to the rack because I'm like, wow, look at this, check out this girl. And my friend, who knows he's on hidden camera, is like, oh man, you know I'm not into that. And I'm thinking like, yes, you
are. So listen, at My Week with Marilyn, as I say, you play Laurence Olivier, and you're making this film. He was the Prince of the Showgirl.
Yeah.
And there was a clash of cultures because they did a very different approaches to acting.
Yeah. I mean, he considered himself very sort of traditional. She had an acting coach who was with her most of the time. She used to go to for advice. Aside from showing up late, she also, when they played a love scene and he wanted her to just react to what was in the scene and to show up on time and know the lines, she needed to just to feel it. And she said famously that when she wanted to show in her eyes that she was in love with him, she needed to think of things that she loved, like Coca-Cola. Or Frank Sinatra, which is unfortunate if you're Laurence Olivier listening to all of that. And she sort of needed to feel it, and he felt you should just sort of show up and do the best you could when you were ready. She just felt you had to wait for the muse to visit. It didn't visit very often.
It's so funny. That actors who are at the end of their tether is like always the funniest thing. I did a play with an actor who used to get very mad about people coughing in the audience. And I'd be in the wings, I was very new, and I'd stand, and he'd come past and go, why don't you cough yourselves to death? And the hand dryer in the ladies' toilets You used to hear that. It was terrifying.
Well, and now it's texting, so the audience is aglow with faces being lit up from below. It's the phone actually ringing, you know. People have famously got... Al Pacino apparently just got into the auditorium and picked a... Al, I'm acting! Go away!
And it's always the marimba. It's some wacky, really obnoxious ring.
But it's always been the same, even before phones and stuff. It's people, you know, sometimes in the matinees you get people of a certain age who are there and, you know, with eating whatever they need, or bring their sandwiches out, they can't hear you, and you just... Is that him? Is that him? Oh, he's a bit shorter, isn't he? Just, you know, just as if you're... Unless you have to carry on regardless.
And when you started in the business, Laurence Olivier was still acting. So did you ever meet him?
I never met him, but I wrote to him when I was 19 years old, and I was struggling, as always, with a part in Chekhov's play Three Sisters, and he'd played the part of Dr. Chebutikin, which he'd just been in a film of, which he directed. I wrote and said, because I was at that point just sort of bending over double and pouring flour all over my hair and pretending to be old, and it wasn't very effective. And I wrote and said, was there anything that you watched or heard or listened to or saw that was inspiration that you could share with me? And he said, yes, there was, but no, he wouldn't. He said, because you really got to work this out for yourself. He said, but my advice is to have a bash and hope for the best, which I certainly wish you. So I did. I wrote this down on a post-it and put it above my mirror, my dressing room mirror, when I came to do this. But what I remember about that experience of that letter coming through the post, my little bedsit in Wilderston Green, which I was staying at the time, was just the letter itself. It was so... The quality of the notepaper was so rich. I felt like somebody had sent me a tablecloth. It was so thick. And then the embossed Laurence Olivier at the top. I felt as that you could... It was like a roller coaster. It was so high on the page that it in it... I felt... I mean, it's in a drawer at home in a special place. It was to have, you know, just someone even bother from a drama student who found his address in the who's who of the theatre. I was able to write to him, get a reply, and be inspired for the rest of my days. So it was very, very memorable.
That's a beautiful story. And when you kind of were launched on the world, I mean, certainly from the outside looking in, it looked like you were very kind of driven and goal-oriented, and you did these amazing things, and it was one after the other. Do you think, like, with the younger Kenneth Branagh, would he say yes to directing something big, blockbustery and mainstream like Thor?
Well, I guess I certainly used to read that comic when I was a kid, so I knew that was always true about my sort of feeling for it. But I think that for me, you know, working class lad from Belfast, just to even be an actor was already such an amazing kind of leap of faith. My parents were kind of amazed. They thought if you were an actor, it meant that you were about to be unemployed, homosexual, and broke. You know, all of which is perfectly fine, but it doesn't remotely include the idea that you even think about directing some great big movie like Thor.
But even in Thor, you didn't take your Shakespeare hat off, didn't you? Because Chris Hemsworth...
Yes.
You made him do some Shakespeare.
Well, you know, he's an absolutely amazing-looking fella.
Yes.
I mean, you know, and... I mean, even I had to sometimes sit down and, you know, have a quick rub down with the Radio Times.
Expressions.
Yeah. He was very stimulating. He was somebody. He had all of those good looks, but he's an amazing, proper actor. And we wanted to feel that Thor was somebody people would follow into the jaws of death. And so, although a lot of the part was about swinging your hammer effectively,
yes,
and he has both an enormously impressive hammer and a great gift with it.
Wow!
That's DVD extras. But he was able to take on board, you know, using the language. He's a fantastic kid and a sort of straight up and down movie star. Really amazing guy, but ready to do all of it. A real sort of worker who wanted to be not just look it, but be able to sort of feel it as well.
As if he's ever looking for, you know, keep fit advice. Zach, you've got some expert
tuition. Yeah, my abs are just outrageous.
Yeah. Didn't you, like, you got some top tips in the gym?
Well, I got inspired, you know, like I think most people, you go in waves, we're like, this is going to be the time where I'm going to get in that crazy shape. And I went to the gym and I was working out and I had chosen a day when all of a sudden, randomly, Arnold Schwarzenegger walked into the gym that I was in. Yeah, and he was like, you know, this is when he was the governor. I knew I was in the right gym, right?
It's a good one.
I tried to put some more weights on so I would look more impressive. I think he knew the gym owner or something, and he was taking a tour or something. And he approaced me, and I don't know if he knew me as an actor or just he was like, you know, he's the governor, like, hello, citizen, or whatever. But he said, what are your goals with your workout? I was so on the spot, but I retreated to this just very little boy place, and I was like, well, to be honest, Arnold, if I could have anything, I'd really like to have... did you ever see the movie Fight Club? I really like the way Brad Pitt's abs looked in Fight Club. And he said, without hesitating, he said, that's all diet. You have to eat a lot of carrots. And I didn't know... I was like, okay. Of course, in my mind, I'm like, Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was like Miss Universe. So Mr. Universe, not Miss Universe.
What a career.
So versatile.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know that he was also Miss Universe. Too many steroids. But so I ran home and I bought a shit ton of carrots. And I was eating them for weeks, but nothing ever happened.
No. Because if you want nutrition advice, Frank Skinner is the man to go to. You're very good on the nutrition and supplements. Don't you do supplements?
Well, I was... Someone very comically bought me some things called 50 Plus for my 50th birthday, which are vitamin tablets to get you to the end. And I took them. I thought I'll take them. Why not? They might help. And after about 3 days, I noticed that my urine had become completely luminous. I mean, to the point where it basically shined in the dark. There was like a little landing strip from my bed to the ensuite where I'd done a sort of dribbly return. Honestly, it was scary. But you know the rug that you get in front of the toilet? It was like flying over Vegas.
We turn to a modern-day Shakespeare, ladies and gentlemen, for Zach Braff. You have written a play.
Yes.
Yes. And you're performing it around the country.
We're starting it in Manchester,
yes.
And then we're going to Glasgow.
Yes.
And then we are spending 10 wonderful weeks at the Duke of York's Theatre in the West End.
Previewing from the 22nd of February.
Yes, please come see it.
Okay.
And since I'm sitting next to Mr. Branagh, please come see it.
Please go.
Well, I know you're invited too.
Too little, too late.
I sense you're going to give me the box office number.
It's called All New People.
Yes, sir.
And well, tell us about it.
I wrote this play about four strangers who are come together in a desolate beach house in the dead of winter, and it's a comedy about these four strangers. It takes place in real time, 90 minutes, and
nice.
we did it off Broadway in New York, and we had a wonderful experience and a wonderful reaction, and it was my first play, so I was very pleased and excited, and then we got this call to bring it to the West End, and so I was just beyond my imagination. I'm just so honored. And I didn't play the role the first time because well, it's the first time I'd written the play, and I really wanted to just sit in the back of the house and rewrite it and tweak it and shape it. And now that I feel like we have it in pretty good shape, I'm excited I'm going to play the leading role this time.
But now that you're performing your own lines,
yes,
are you sort of thinking, or are you thinking, yes, this is very good?
There's plenty of times where the actor who had done it the first time was like, I hate this line, I don't like it, and I was battling, no, I love the line. Now that I'm doing the play, I'm like, I see why I hated that line. That line sucks. But the funny thing is that my wonderful cast is pretty much already fully memorized and off the book, and they would assume that I would be too because I wrote it, but I never have. The last thing I thought about was committing it to memory. So we're walking down the rehearsal hall, and they're all giving me the evil eye, like, you really don't have this memorized yet. You wrote the darn thing.
But do you rewrite for yourself though, if you have a line that you just want to revise and
a little bit as I go, and then if someone's like, actually, Zach, it's the, not they, and I'm like, it's stuff. Don't worry about it.
Well, you know what you could do? Is make changes every day for the rest of them.
Oh, to keep them on
really
book.
screw them up. Yeah, I've changed. I rewrote it. Yeah, not so clever now, are you?
But just the thought of being able to do it here, I know, I'm very aware as a theater student, the storied history of the West End, and just to be able to be there is very exciting.
Okay. You are going to Manchester and Glasgow first, all right? Just to bear that
You know, that'll make it seem even better.
Now, Zach is very connected with his fans through all the social media. You do the Facebook, you do the tweeting.
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
I'm active on Facebook and Twitter because I've always found it a fun way to talk to the fans, and also because a lot of the things I'm doing, I like to do, whether it be a small independent film or a play, they don't have this, you know, the publicity machine behind them. So I thought they've been wonderful to sort of really get right to your fans and say, hey, this is what I'm up to. And
But I mean, you made an extraordinary promise to a fan on Facebook, didn't you?
Yeah.
Tell us what you
Well,
did.
I reached 1 million fans on Facebook, which was a big thing for me. I thought that was pretty cool.
It's very cool.
And as what I decided to do as a thank you for all these people supporting me was say, I will, if you submit a video, a 30-second video, telling me what we would do if I hung out with you for the day. And it doesn't have to be like anything special. If you need, you know, childcare or you know, a personal assistant or we'll go to work, whatever it is, whatever you would like me to come and do with you for the day, I'll do. I mean, barring like a sex act, you know.
Right.
And
a lot of small print, I think.
and I put it out all over, you know, because Facebook's all over the globe, and then we narrowed it down to 10, and then the fans themselves voted, and the video that won are these fellows in Austria, and as soon as my play is done, I'm going to go spend the day with them in Austria.
But what do they say you do?
I don't know. I think they really just want to party.
Have you been to Austria before?
No. I hear it's lovely.
If they have a basement, don't go into it. There'll be a lot of... I don't get it for explaining. An awful thing happened in a basement.
They're filling me in on the subtext there.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping they won't take me to their basement.
No, really don't go.
Well, one part of the thing with the videos, as opposed to just I'll pick someone randomly, was let me see that you're not like a crazy person. But I guess people can hide that.
Yeah. None of the neighbors knew.
The neighbors always say you're such a normal guy.
I used to be written to by this woman I came to know as the Jigsaw Woman. And she used to send me graphic letters, graphic sexual letters, very neatly cut into perfect jigsaw shapes. So you had to piece them together. And my PA, who was very proper and very sweet woman, would carefully sellotape these letters together to make sure all the filthy words were readable and give them to me. And she used to sign it with this mysterious symbol. And she wrote me loads of these things. And then I was on tour, and my tour manager said, oh, there's a woman from a local radio station wants to interview you. And I said, yeah, OK, that's fine. So she came in, and we spoke. And she said, here's my card if you want to contact me again. And I looked, and it had this symbol on it. And I said, you're the Jigsaw Woman, aren't you? And she said, well, you know, oh, that's all in the past. I said, I got the last one 3 weeks. And she said, it was just a bit of a joke. And I said, I'm actually quite frightened now. I said, I really want you to go. And she said, no, don't. I said, please, I really want you to go or I'll scream. And she said, let me sleep with you tonight. I said, you are out of your mind. If you sleep with me tonight, I will wake up with a knife between my shoulders. Well, not even wake up. I said, absolutely not. She said, please, you'll never hear from me again. I'll never bother you again. Just one night and I'll go. And I said, no, absolutely, just go. Or, honestly, I'll go crazy. Please go. And she lifted up her jumper. And she had a bra on, but it was quite a nice bra. And she stood like this, and I said, and you promise me I'll never hear from you? And I did it. I risked it.
Wow.
That's a love. Thank you for sharing so much.
Well,
I think you've heard enough.
I'm not not going to sleep with these Austrian boys.
You break it to them like this.
Yes. If you're watching, it's not going to happen.
Oh, dear.
And listen, Frank, very exciting year for you because you're doing a show in the West End, you've got your radio show still going, and new host of Room 101. And it's a new format now. It's more like a panel show than a...
Yeah, I'm the host, and there's 3 guests competing to get their hates into Room 101.
OK, well, we've got a clip of next week's episode.
I hate the logo so much, it's put me off the Olympics.
I think, really, I can't...
Look at that, it's like the worst jigsaw you've ever seen.
I really think that is just the tiniest part of this Olympic
I
Games.
know, but it's everywhere. I could do a better logo than that now.
Oh, you've got one.
I'll do one. I will do a better logo for the Olympics than that.
I've been seeing that logo everywhere, and I never knew it was for the Olympics.
Oh, really? That's so funny. You didn't know what it was.
No, I just thought it was some graphic, weird design. I didn't know that it was for the Olympics, but now that I know, thank you.
Oh,
Yes.
well, really, it is some graphic, weird design.
Now, very exciting. You've got a big announcement because you're doing something extraordinary for sports relief.
Yeah, well, it's extraordinary for me, but it's one of those sports relief challenges that, you know, people like Eddie Izzard ran 44 marathons and David Walliams swam the Channel and the Thames. I'm swimming a length. Now, I should say I can't swim, and I'm frightened of water. I've always been frightened of water. And it gets worse, because it looks like, the chances are, it's not certain yet, we're going to be doing it in the Olympic pool. And the Olympic pool, apparently, is twice the size of any other swimming pool. So they said, actually, it'll be a width. So that makes it sound even more rubbish. And also, you know, I didn't go to the gym. I have a terrible physique. I'm thinking I might have to do it in a suit to preserve my, dignity. But I am genuinely frightened.
You can't swim at all.
I can't swim. I can't go out of my depth in the water.
Will you have any water wings on, or have
No, I have
float or
to.
anything,
I
or-
have basically 6 weeks to learn. They're going to give me therapy as well, like to get over the fear. And
Are you making this up?
people are laughing. No, I'm not making it up.
I have a phobia of cake. I'm going to attempt to eat this for sports relief.
No, I have witnesses. For years, I'm the person who minds other people's stuff on beach holidays while they go off and swim, you know.
What's the most frightening thing? What's your
Drowning.
worst... Yeah.
It's number 1. It's also number 2. And I'm doing this thing.
just death.
I'm doing this live on Sport Relief Night, so I could actually drown live on television. And I don't know what will happen. I don't know if they'll carry on with the rest of the show. I don't know if people will still get their money.
Or if you're taking too long, will they just leave it? Yeah, you probably finished
Do you have a set amount of time so you're not just, like, bobbing there in the water?
It's going to come back and I'll just be on the bottom of the pool like that.
You shouldn't don't wear clothes or a suit, because that'll be horrible. It'll be very, it'll be heavy, etc. But also, might you wear, if they think about it being aerodynamic, be careful, I think, of those very tight-fitting one-pieces as well, in terms of...
Well, I'm not worried about the aerodynamic element. I mean, it's going to be quite cold in there. Yeah, I imagine my testicles by that stage will have just gone past my heart. Can I just say it's not certain that we're going to do the Olympic pool. They're still debating that, by the way. I think they're worried that they don't want someone as frightened as me in a new swimming pool.
And also, if you do die, it'll sort of put a damper on the Olympics.
Yeah.
I think. I'm hoping that they'll do... You know the outline that they put around murdered bodies? That'll be on the bottom of the pool as a tribute.
In mosaic. Well, good luck with this swimming, Frank.
Thank you.
I hope it goes well.
It's really serious.
Troublemaker.
That's right.
And the album is out in March, isn't it?
It's called Tayo, yes. It's
Tayo.
in March, yeah.
26th of March. Yeah, I feel so stupid. I always assumed you were American. Does everyone assume you're American?
A lot of people assume I'm American, and even when I talk to them for 10 to 20 minutes, they still think I'm American, and then I have to say I'm English, and then they say, say something, and I say, oh, hello, and they go, oh, yes, you're English.
Did you co-write Umbrella or not?
No, I didn't, but yeah, it's a long story. It was my song before Rihanna stole it, and then...
Why have I ever seen her? I'm sure she paid you handsomely, didn't she? Oh, no, you were going to sing it.
I was going to sing it, and then Tricky, who wrote the song, gave it to Rihanna, so... But it's cool. It's cool. I'm still here. I'm on the Graham Norton show now.
Yeah! So. Yeah, where's she? Where's Rihanna? Yeah. She's not here. No. Very good. Well, thank you very much for doing that. Thanks for bringing all the dancers. Yeah, it was very good. Right, we're going to go, but just before, we'll have a story in the red chair. Yes. Hello.
Hiya.
What's your name?
My name's Aileen.
Aileen?
Yep.
And I'm guessing you're from Ireland?
I am. I'm from Derry.
Oh, you're from Derry, up for the north of the country. Okay. And do you live there or here?
Study here. I live over there.
Oh, right. What are you studying?
Costume design. Costume interpretation.
Okay. There will be subtitles on Friday. I know right now only I can understand it. Nobody else can understand it too. Yeah, but okay. I know. Yeah.
I can't.
No. So far, you're not missing anything.
I've never heard of costume interpretation before.
It's like costume design, isn't it?
Except fancier.
Fancier? It's fancier, Frank. Oh, yeah.
All the lever.
Okay, off you go.
Right, so lead up to Christmas, I was back home, and had a...
Exact face. Did you get any of it? Christmas?
Something about Christmas.
Yeah, Christmas. That's the only good detail so far. Just pick out words, you'll follow the story. You say, blah, 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 Christmas, right. Blah, 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 home.
Run into the shop, and I had to get milk and bread. Literally was really stressed, so I was like, run out, get the groceries, let's go. Told my boyfriend to do a lap and just pick me up, no need to park the car. So as planned, I came out, you know, perfectly timing. Silver people carrier just casually drifts by, casual speed. So without hesitation, I sprint across with my groceries. Jump in the back of the car, screaming, and thump in the back of the chair, shouting, go, 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 go! But taking in mind it was Christmas, and I had like a scarf up here, and I thought, which was my boyfriend, turned out to be this middle-aged, like 60-year-old woman, screaming, Jesus! And pushed her foot on the accelerator, and I pushed her on the lamppost.
Sorry. You walk. No. Well done. Very good. If you'd like to join us on the show and have a go in that red chair, you can contact us via our website at this very address. Ladies and gentlemen, please thank all my guests tonight. Tayo Cruz, Frank Steer, Jack Braff, and Mr. Kenneth Branagh. Join me next week with the Brits nominee Ed Sheeran, comedian Alan Davies, and acting legends Sir Patrick Stewart and Liam Neeson. I'll see you then. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.
O'Shea Borge is the man with the money. Next on BBC One, it's the Friday night National Lottery draws. Or flick over to BBC 3 in 5 minutes for some marriage guidance from American Dad.